Good day, everyone. This is Jeremy England again, coming to you with another handgun hunting related video. Today we've been doing some load workup. Right here, the barrel you see is a 6.5 TCU. This is a 15-inch Bullberry custom barrel, and we've run a few loads today with a 123 grain Amax. Experiment with a couple of different powders to see how she does in it. We've also done some load workup with a match grade machine, 14-inch 17 fireball, and got some really good results out of it today, running some Nosler 20 grain bullets through it today over a couple of different powders, and I've been real happy with the results. We'll get into those here after a while, but we're doing load workup in preparation today for a trip out west in June. We're going out to Ernie Bishop's place in Gillette, Wyoming this June for a specialty pistol shoot and prairie dog shoot. It's a combination steel and prairie dog shoot, and I'm trying to get a couple of good loads worked up for the prairie dogs. And I don't know, I'm about halfway through the 6.5 TCU load development. Been real happy with the results so far. Show you some actual shooting with the 6.5 and show you it's not a very bad cartridge to shoot at all. The 6.5 TCU is just like the 25, 6mm, and 7 TCU cartridges. Basically, was designed by Thomas Ugaldi for use in the IHMSA silhouette competition, and it's basically a 223 cartridge punched out to the appropriate size. This one being a 6.5 with a steeper shoulder than a 223. Very mild cartridge to shoot. Again, this is a 15-inch barrel. Be one of the ones that I'll probably be taking out west with me this June for the prairie dogs and the steel. And also makes a very good hunting round, especially here in Kentucky, where we commonly shoot inside of 100 yards. Make a very good whitetail cartridge. We're guessing these, I've not got my chronograph with me today, but I'm guessing these loads are probably somewhere in the low 2000s. I'm figuring 2,200 foot a second. Recoil is very mild, and with this being a 15-inch barrel, I've got plans in the near future to install a muzzle brake on this barrel for my son, to put it to a car and permanently attach it, put it to a carbine length of over 16 inches for my son, and even my daughter, if she decides to hunt, can use it for whitetail hunting here in Kentucky. Very neat little cartridge. I love the TCUs. I've owned about all of them, and my favorite up until now has been the 7 TCU. Of course, I've shot it in handgun competition for silhouettes. Wonderful cartridge to shoot. But I'm quickly coming to love this little 6.5. This is my first trip to the range. This 6.5. I've had it for some time. Running a pre-easy open Thompson Center Contender frame. This is actually a 1976 production frame with a Dave Dolan grip 4-inch set on it. Basically working up loads just like we would in the field. Get this box out of your way. Shooting off a rear wedge bag with a Harris bipod from the bench. I found it's best for me to work up loads like this, as it really makes it easier for me dialing my loads in this way, because I like to shoot the same fashion that I'll be shooting when I'm out in the field. We're running a Virgin Valley steel base on this with a Leupold vertical split rings and a loaner scope that we've had forever. We've swapped this around for a couple of different barrels. This is a Simmons 2-6 Pro Hunter. It's done wonderful so far. I'll probably put higher magnification optics on it once we get a load dialed in and take her out west. But anyway, enough of the jib jab. We'll get on to shooting for you, show you what these little cartridges are capable of. And after we're done shooting today, I'll go over some of the accuracy targets that we've got with both these barrels, and let you see what we're doing. 6.5 TCU, 15-inch Virgin or 15-inch Bullberry custom barrel, Thompson Center Contender. Check my brass for any signs of excess pressure. Things looking good. As you can see, very mild recoiling cartridge, very mild recoiling cartridge. Put a couple more down the range and we'll see what we've got. This particular powder we're running is a bookload of a Winchester 748. One of the preferred powders. We've tried a BLC equivalent prior to this through the pistol, and it's done exceptionally well. We're going to go for our last round on this group. Again, brass looks good, and as you can see, I'm having no trouble with this, especially this being a pretty easy open frame. Again, the 6.5 TCU, wonderful little cartridge to shoot. Wonderful little cartridge to shoot. I'm going to walk down range here in just a second. I didn't bring a spot and scope with me today. I was kind of in a rush to get out here on the range today, and run off and forgot my chronograph as well as my spot and scope. So anyway, we'll be back with you here in just a bit. Our last group, two groups that we fired with this 6.5 TCU, we've shot two more groups for accuracy with Win 748. Gosh, all I can say is I'm impressed. My last group that I fired, again, a book load at the Win 748 with a 123 Amax. Loaded at 2.61 overall. It's a bug hole load. I think I've got one more load here to try, and we're going to see how it does. It'll be hard to top the last group that I just shot, bug hole load, and I'll show you the results of that here momentarily. But I'm more than impressed with this little barrel. I had at one time I had taken this barrel in on a trade, and I got it from the gentleman. He said it was bornly accurate, shooting a 95 grain B-Max. I can't say enough about this barrel with a 123 Amax in it. I think I said 95 grain Amax, well, I meant B-Max. But I'm shooting a 123 Amax, seated 2.61 combined overall length, and I'm speechless with the last group that I fired. It'll be a hard group to beat, I do believe. We're going to try this last three remaining rounds and see how it does. If these three rounds shoot half as good as the last three did, I'll be tickled pink. But I've found my accuracy load with this barrel, I do believe. The only thing left to do will be to load some more up, put them across the chronograph. I'm sure with the accuracy that I got with that last group, I'm sure I'll be well pleased with the numbers. It may not be as fast as I want it to be, but hey, that's quite all right. It doesn't matter how fast you miss something. But we're going to get busy, put three more rounds down range through this 15-inch Bullberry custom barrel in the 6.5 TCU and see how these last three loads do, and then we will come to you after that with some targets from both the 6.5 TCU as well as the 17 Fireball, which again is a match grade machine barrel, but we'll come to you again with the targets for both of them and show you what these things are capable of doing. A lot of people underestimate these specialty pistols. Guys, this thing right here, I've got several barrels that will rival any rifle at 100 yards. And again, I'm only shooting 6-power glass on this thing. I'm shooting at a 1-inch paste dot, orange dot at 100 yards. And that's mighty minuscule through a 6-power scope. As the old expression goes, you aim small, miss small. A 1-inch dot is about all you want to shoot at with a 6-power optic at that range. I pulled some pretty good shots with a 6-power optic on other barrels, but this barrel right here I'm thoroughly impressed with. Enough talking. I'm going to get busy and shoot this last three rounds, and afterwards we'll give you an accuracy review of what we're doing here, or what we have done here with this barrel today. I think I found my load that I'll be taking out west with me to Ernie's. for the steel prairie dog shoot. And the only thing I've got to say is, Lord help the prairie dogs. Man puts a better piece of glass on this thing, some higher end magnification, it'll be tough to beat, ladies and gentlemen. I mean tough to beat. Anyway, I'm going to get busy and put these last 3 rounds down range. I'm going to go ahead and leave the camera running and let you see this is our top end, our max load for this cartridge. And so far, I'm not seeing any, I'm not seeing any signs of overpressure whatsoever. I've got a wee bit of primer flattening on that last 3 rounds, but that was my accuracy load so far. And I'm going to try these next 3. This is our max load here, and I think I've got a little excited over that last 3-shot group that I shot. Seeing the results of it just blow my mind. There we go. Range is hot. We're down here by ourselves today, and again, we're shooting the 6.5 TCU 123 grain Amax high ballistic coefficient bullet through the Bullberry 6.5 TCU barrel. And let's see how this last 3 rounds goes. Again, no problem opening it up, and I do have some primer flattening, but I've got no flow. And the brass looks good. These next 2 down here, and we're going to go down range and check them. A little bit of sticky on that one, but again, the brass looks good. Got some primer flattening, but nothing to be overly concerned about. I've seen worse, far worse. And no right up. Brass looks good. Primer looks good. And I'm loading primarily Remington brass. This load was with Winchester 748 Federal 205 small rifle primer and a 123 Amax. Again, book loads of Win 748. The previous load was same brass, same bullet, same primer, but I was running a BLC2 equivalent of WC 846 military surplus powder that we'd come across. Nonetheless, and all the more, we're going to go down range, check this last 3-shot group, pull our targets, and see how we did. Again, 6.5 TCU Thompson Center Contender, and this is one of the rigs I'm taking out to Ernie's place in June. We'll be traveling along with Chris Rhodes of Bayside Custom Gun Works when we go out for the shoot. But stand by and we'll get you some more footage, show you what these little. And we're back again. We've got our load development done. Again, with our Thompson Contender with the 6.5 barrel, the TCU barrel again. Bullberry custom barrel. Make a wonderful barrel. I've owned a couple of Bullberries in the past, and every one I've ever owned has been an excellent shooting barrel. And as promised, I'm going to show you some accuracy pictures, what we've done, or some group pictures for accuracy, rather, or group targets, and show you what these little pistols are capable of doing. Again, this one sports a custom grip set and forend made by Dave Dolan. Goes by Dave D on Specialty Pistol Forums, a wonderful grip maker, and have plans down the road for another custom grip for another contender, for my son's contender. But as promised, before we get into showing you the groups, for those of you that have never seen the 6.5 or any of the TCU family, you can see it's basically a 223 cartridge with the neck punched out to the diameter with a sharp shoulder on it. Very, very efficient little cartridge. And as you've seen, recoil's not bad on this, and I'm pushing a pretty warm load of Win 748 through it. Shot extremely well. Not to mention Winchester 8 or WC 846, which was the first powder we tried when we originally sat down at the bench with the with the WC 846. This was our initial 2-siders here, and I always ladder up a half a grain per charge. We went to 26, which was a really, really good load. 2 through the same hole pretty much. I don't know if you can see it. And we bumped up, kept going up, and groups opened up. The 26 grain load showed a lot of promise. Like I said, you've got 2 pretty much through the same hole, and I was pretty impressed with that load until I went to the Win 748. Again, one of the preferred powders. My starting load looked really well. We laddered up in half grain increments, just as we did with the other powder. And this was our first, right dead center, get it focused up for you, was our first 3-shot group right here. You can see it, that looked pretty good. I mean, that's probably center to center, just over half inch, and I was really impressed with that. We bumped it up a half grain, and again, you see how she opened up. And you know, it's hard to believe what just a half grain of powder will do. But again, we kept bumping up to another half grain. That was our next 3-shot group. My finger's right there on top of it. And then we went to this one right here, right above my index finger. Another half grain hotter. And then we bumped up a half grain from there with the Win 748. And this is what we were given right here. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is 3 shots. Well inside a half inch, well inside a half inch center to center. And we bumped up a half grain, and this was the result of it. You can see it opened up dramatically. I don't think I'm going to find a load that's going to beat this load right here. And ladies and gentlemen, as you saw, that shot from a pistol off of a Harris bipod with a rear wedge bag. Nothing spectacular about that setup. It's not a bench rest. It's not a machine rest. I'm shooting a rest just like you'd use in the field, or just like I use in the field. And in doing my load workup, I found that, again, that's the easiest way for me to get a load dialed in that I'm going to use in the field, because I know that that load's going to work off my bipod as well as it does off, say, my camera rest combo that I use. As a matter of fact, we're using it here today to videotape. And again, that was a 15-inch barrel. I haven't looked at the data to give you a ballpark figure of what those loads are running. I'm figuring probably somewhere around 2200 foot a second, maybe more, maybe less. I'm not really sure. I'll have to look again to see what the book says on it, and then kind of guesstimate it from there. But our next barrel was our, and I fibbed earlier, I told you it was a 14-inch, our 15-inch match grade machine, 17 Fireball. This one wears a match grade machine base, again, Leupold vertical split rings, and a Burris 3x12 long eye relief handgun scope. This is a factory heavy contour, about 805 at the muzzle. Real heavy barrel, especially if you look at that little bitty 172 diameter hole in the end of it. But it's a good barrel. We started out with a clean bore, and I fired my siders off clean bore with another good load, and that's it. That's the top 3 right there. And once the barrel filed in, I started with the this again was the WC 846. It's a BLC2 equivalent powder, and you use a lot of the same data for the 17 Fireball that you do for the 17 Mach 4. And being that the powder were very close in burn rates, I went ahead and, of course I double checked that, but I went ahead and started my groups. This was, I think it was, let me check, yeah. This was our starting load right here. Well, it's not too impressive. I was thinking, well, the barrel still needs to foul on up. Again, I punch them up. I punched these, this little small cartridge, I punched it up 2.2 grains at the time. This was our follow-up right here. As you can see, looks a lot better. Then we bumped on up to 18.8 grains, and then up to 19. I knew that was a bad shot when I pulled it. I grabbed the trigger on that one. When the shot broke, I knew it was a bad shot. But this barrel, commonly with our other actually load, when the barrel's fouled, this barrel does not shoot worth a darn with a clean bore. I will tell you that right now. Once the barrel's fouled in, it really settles in and shoots quite well. I'm rather happy with that. I'm going to load up some more on the top end of that load data and give it another whirl, and especially look at the numbers across the chronograph. Again, I ran off that chronograph today, and without spotting scope, and when you start punching 17 caliber holes at 100 yards, it gets pretty interesting because you've got to really hunt for them. But I'm real happy with the results of this powder. We've got an 8-pound keg of it, so I thought, hey, might as well try it. BLC2 was one of the suggested powders for the 17 Mach 4, which pretty much mimics the 17 Fireball. And with the exception of pulling that one round on the top end, I believe if I'd have actually settled in, I believe that would have been one ragged hole at 100 yards. But again, so far today, the top dog actually has been the 6.5. And to think I almost let this barrel go, I traded for it used. And I'm now thankful I didn't. I never fired the barrel until today. I mounted a glass up here a while back on it, and just now got around to shooting it, getting the load worked. I'd worked up some loads some time ago for it, and just first chance I'd had to get out and shoot it today, and gosh, I'm glad I did. To think I almost let this barrel go. It's one of them you don't know if you don't shoot them, and I'm thoroughly tickled pink. I mean, I couldn't be happier with the results that I've gotten today. This load right here coming in 26.9, well under a ½ inch center to center. I'll take that all day long. I'm going to load some more of those rounds up. I've got my scope dialed in, my correction dialed in now. I was shooting exactly 1 inch low at 100. Windage was dead on. I went ahead and dialed her in 1 inch elevation at 100 yards. And I'm going to take this one and run it. I'm going to run it again at 100 yards across the chronograph. And I'm going to stretch this one's legs and see how it does. The high ballistic coefficient bullet, this ought to make for a wonderful, wonderful little cartridge, and probably really impress you when you get to stretching its legs a little bit with the Amax bullets. The 17 Fireball, I'm tickled to death with, especially if we had been running a 20 grain nozzler of Armageddon hollow point, and now we're running a 20 grain polymer tip nozzler through it. And like I said, I've got some really promising loads. I may have to tinker with my seat depth a little bit, but all of those are well under an inch at 100. Once the barrel fouled in, it actually really tightened up and got to shooting good. I'm going to load some more of these loads up, and we're going to see exactly how she does. I couldn't be happier with the way it's shooting right now. I mean, it's just driving nails. Both of them are. The 17, I know what it's capable of doing. I've got, I actually loaded the house. It's shooting under a ½ MOA at 100, and a vile little cartridge. We're going to take both these out again to Ernie Bishop's in June for the Specialty Pistols Combo Steel and Prairie Dog Shoot. It's hosted by Ernie Bishop. Goes by Ernie on Specialty Pistols forums. And again, I'll be accompanying Chris Rhodes. He's the owner of Bayside Custom Gun Works, and he'll be going out with us, or I'll be going out with him rather, in June when we go out to hunt and to shoot. I've got another video coming up here before long. I've been behind the power curve. I've had a lot of issues going on with work and at home. My better half's been under the weather, and it's kept me from getting out like I want to as far as shoot. But hey, family first. But nonetheless, and all the more, we're tickled to death. with the results we've seen here today. I don't want to get long-winded about it, but you know, don't underestimate specialty pistols. If you've never gotten into the specialty pistol world and you've often wondered about handgun hunting, give it a try. It's a world of fun. These things, as you've seen, are just as accurate, if not more accurate, than a lot of rifles out there. But again, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video. By all means, check out some of my other videos. You see some handgun hunting videos. You'll see Chris Rhodes, owner of Bayside Custom Gun Works, came in and hunted with us last fall. You can see him at work with his Smith 29DX. And again, I've got another video coming up for you. It's going to be more of a review than anything. We've been working up loads. It's on a platform that Chris put together for us. We've got a little more load development to do before we actually get out here, but we're going to show you what some of his handiwork is capable of doing. Again, the 6.5 I'm tickled to death with, 15-inch Bullberry. I foresee a muzzle brake going on this thing, and allowing my twins to hunt with it. Try to take them a whitetail with it. I believe once a man gets a muzzle brake on this thing, it won't even move. Plus, I have to attach a muzzle brake to get it to a BATF minimum 16-inch length and permanently attach it for them. But nonetheless, and all the more, thanks for taking the time to watch our videos. Tune in next time. We'll have